Our story today is about Han Beom-sang, an ordinary 2-3-year-old man. He happens to find a mysterious room, left behind by his grandfather. Here, time seems to flow, 100 times slower than in the real world. A few days inside are just a second in the real world. Best of all, he can also adjust the time as he wishes, but the longer he uses it, the higher the price. Not only does it consume gold and jewels, but he also has to trade his own lifespan. The story begins with a scene of Beom-sang, looking for a job for himself. The question from the interviewer is, what is your philosophy on life? When one door closes, another one opens. What closes behind will lead the way for what awaits ahead. That is Beom-sang's motto. And that's also how he lives. Even when his father went missing or his mother had an accident, another door closes, another one opens. Beom-sang also secretly thought that his own mysterious space also opened up in a similar way. After hearing his answer, the judges were all silent and contemplative. A red pen mark rolled across the paper, and Beom-sang was hired. He could start work next week. This made him very excited, and he thanked his boss. At this point, Beom-sang is happily chatting with his friend about getting into the #1 law firm in Korea. Then he asks about something he had asked his friend to do. Beom-sang's friend quickly takes out the item he needs, a gold bar. Beom-sang takes it. His friend can't help but wonder why lately he has been buying a lot of gold. But Beom-sang doesn't reveal the real reason. He smiles and leaves. Then he struggles back to a detached house, about a 30-minute steep climb from the subway station. Beom-sang had lived there for 3 to 5 years and often thought about selling it. But now, times have changed, because now, Beom-sang is certain he will never sell this house. He enters the house, and his mother is in the kitchen cooking. Beom-sang tells his mother that he got the job at the icy Kim Kang firm. This leaves his mother stunned and overjoyed. She rushes to him and asks a ton of questions. Beom-sang awkwardly makes up an excuse that he just applied. For fun, who knew they would pick him? At this, his mother starts to cry tears of joy. Seeing his mother like this, he can't help but feel emotional too. But the truth is, he also doesn't know why he passed. Because his background is nothing special. A high school dropout who graduated from a no-name law school. He should have been eliminated in the application review stage. However, no matter what, Beom-sang secretly resolves to do his best. Because his mother is so happy about this. Then his mother says goodbye and leaves for work. Beom-sang's expression changes immediately. He takes out the gold bar from earlier, hesitating, wondering whether to go to that place now or not. That place used to be his father's study. Now, it's his. Beom-sang walks step by step towards that room. It's the attic of his house. 3 months ago, he discovered a secret space here. If he pushes this cabinet, behind it is an empty safe. And of course, that's not all. Beom-sang arrives, holding the gold bar in his hand. He puts the gold bar into the safe. A golden light appears from a new door. The attic his father built with his own hands. A mysterious dimension exists here. Beom-sang steps into this space. Inside is a magical scene. Wisps of purple and blue smoke, and an image of clock gears appears. Meanwhile, on the rooftop of the Kim Kang firm, someone is holding a cigarette and complaining. Why are all the kids these days like this? Another person there also asks, what's wrong? The brown-haired man with glasses asks back, did someone talk back? The redhead just gently blows out smoke. He looks at Four Eyes and asks a question in return. If you get into the top law firm in Korea, that's an opportunity, right? Then the brown-haired man gets angry. Shouldn't you work hard and strive for more? This confuses Four Eyes. What's wrong with him? Then he sighs. I had an urgent task, so I asked someone to translate, but they argued that outsourcing would be more efficient. Four Eyes looks at him seriously. Seriously, do they think this is a workplace or a playground? The #1 law firm in Korea, Kim Kang, ranked in the top 50 globally for revenue. Even Kim Kang, after the abolition of the bar exam and other changes, is now recruiting talent through even stricter processes. The recruitment team is also on standby. It's truly an era obsessed with resumes and paperwork. Four Eyes pushes up his glasses, but he recalls Beom-sang's interview from before. Four Eyes thought last week's candidate wasn't arrogant, but was unusually relaxed. Suddenly, he falls into deep thought, wondering, are all kids these days like that? Or is it because he has connections? For American lawyers, Kim Kang won't even consider your application unless you're from a T14 school. T14 refers to the top 14 law schools in the US, according to the US News and World Report rankings. But that candidate, maybe he's so relaxed because he has connections. Even with that degree, he throws his cigarette into the trash can, still lost in thought. To be honest, I didn't really want to hire him. He stomps his foot. But how could I not? Four Eyes shouts helplessly. What is going on? If it's a regular hire, HR should handle it. Why is the recruitment team and someone else interfering? I don't know either. The order came from above. Four Eyes is confused. From above? Who exactly? The person remains silent, saying nothing more. Suddenly, Four Eyes is startled, realizing something. The man with round glasses comes over and pats his shoulder. You get it now, right? Just proceed with the interview as directed. Then, Four Eyes continues to hesitate. If someone wasn't backing him, I wouldn't have hired him. He looks towards the brown-haired man. So who did you ask to do the translation? He replies, I outsourced it. It has to be submitted to the court next week. But I don't know. It's 600 pages. Hearing this, Four Eyes is horrified. Are you really going to submit all 600 pages to the court? Then he becomes flustered. The brown-haired man just sighs gloomily. Then he explains. The opposing counsel is Byung-chun. He requested the entire case file, the judge's ruling, and all the evidentiary documents, saying he'll review it all. It's just a stalling tactic. Then, Four Eyes turns and suggests to lawyer Kim, please send those files to me. This makes the brown-haired man both happy and curious. Huh? Lawyer Do? You're going to handle it? Do you know any translators? I'm not sure how good they are, but I'll give it a try. Lawyer Do smiles. Anyway, let's just see. At this moment, Byung-sang is sitting at his desk. He is suddenly surprised. A translation for a lawsuit from the International Trade Department, huh? Lawyer Do confirms. Yes. Since you haven't been assigned to a team yet, I thought this would be good experience. Ah, I understand. He reminds him, they need it by next week, so check the files I sent via email. Meanwhile, Lawyer Do thinks to himself, no translation company can translate legal documents, equivalent to 2 books in 1 week. You can split the work, but then the terminology won't be consistent, and you can't just run court documents through an AI translator. He smirks. Let's see how he handles this. After hearing this, Byung-sang is silent for a moment. Then he smiles brightly, full of excitement. Understood. Night falls quickly. Byung-sang has returned home and sees that a package has arrived. His mother comes out and asks, hey, what's all this? Byung-sang answers nervously, oh, it's just some camping batteries. Watching him carry the items up, she keeps asking, are you going wilderness camping? Why'd you buy such big ones? And give me your shirt. I have to wash it right away before it starts to smell. Byung-sang looks at his mother with a pout. Mom, people will think I'm smelly or something. She jokes. Want to smell it yourself? You think I'd let you wear that? A moment later, Byung-sang has finished carrying the stuff. It seems the camping battery excuse worked. Thank God. He sits scrolling on his phone, thinking, I need to get some protein in today too. Then, Byung-sang opens the door, preparing to enter the hidden space. Alright, let's go. The room is now lit by the flashlights that he painstakingly finished hauling up. A certain amount of gold for 1 square meter. This room expands every time I add gold. At first, there was really nothing here, but once I added lights, I could finally see what the room looks like. Then Byung-sang wonders, is there no ceiling here? And the next day, I tried releasing a helium balloon. The balloon floated up, to a place the lights couldn't reach, and never came back. Byung-sang is suddenly startled and pensive for a moment. He rubs his head. Well, at least it's not collapsing. Finished. He steps out of the room. Byung-sang notices his phone on the table. It shows his delivery order has 48 minutes remaining. Byung-sang immediately wonders, is the delivery late? But then he realizes, it's not that the delivery is late or that his phone is broken. It's just that time didn't pass. Time passed inside that mysterious dimension, but when I left, the clock outside reset to the moment I first entered. He reaches out and takes a book. So, it's basically infinite time. Byung-sang confidently steps into the hidden space. I've never been in here this long before. His eyes look forward happily. I've got work to do. 100 pages. If I work hard, maybe 15 days, 20 days, this might actually be fun. The scene changes to Lawyer Do, working. Someone comes to his office door. Yes, come in. It's Byung-sang. He speaks up. Hello, lawyer. Do you have a moment? He looks at him, confused. Did he come to tell me he quit? On his computer screen, Lawyer Do has his information open. That was fast. Then he asks, what is it? Byung-sang, holding a bag containing 600 pages, says, it's just that I've finished translating the documents you gave me. He places everything in front of a stunned Lawyer Do. It's all done. He is both disbelieving and shocked. What? You're already finished with everything? Byung-sang confidently replies, yes. A little introduction to Lawyer Do Daegi of the recruitment team. He is a young man with 12 years of experience, and a former prosecutor. He completed his LLM Master of Laws program, M, at Columbia Law School, and is a member of the Comodical, New York State Bar. After some time, he joined Recruitment Team 5 of a major law firm. As part of a management training program, a necessary step to advance to a management position in the future. Daegi is the elite of the elite at Kim Kang. When faced with unrealistic problems, he delves deep, analyzing them meticulously. He mulls over every issue and somehow forces everything to conform to his logic. That is his stubbornness. This is also a characteristic trait of legal professionals. At this point, Daegi speaks up. Lawyer Byung-sang, you said before that you worked at a firm, right? Byung-sang immediately replies, yes, I worked there for about a year. Daegi touches the pages he completed. He utters a sentence that leaves Byung-sang bewildered. Do you think this place is a joke? It would take him a lot of time to admit he was wrong. Daegi holds his head and sighs. No matter how urgent the work is, you can't just do it with some AI and bring back a low-quality result, okay? And so, a lecture spews forth from Daegi. It's 600 pages of documents. This isn't a children's comic book. These are legal documents, including court rulings and arbitration agreements. Even professional translation companies need at least 2 weeks. And yet, you finished it in 3 days. At this point, the angry veins on his face are popping out. Do you know what kind of person I hate the most? People who use the back door. Daegi continues, not giving Byung-sang a chance to rebut. But what's even more disgusting is someone like that trying to get recognition by cheating. He lowers his head, listening to the reprimands from him. These documents will be submitted as evidence in a lawsuit and will be scrutinized by the parties involved, so you can't translate them with AI. Daegi stands up, his hand on the stack of papers. So, with one hand, he sweeps away all the sweat and hard work that Byung-sang put in. Do it again. The pages scatter and fall all over the floor. They land at Byung-sang's feet. He doesn't explain anything, just quietly picks them up. Daegi looks at him and thinks to himself, I was planning to have him do menial tasks for 6 months, but if you keep acting like this, then things will be completely different. He's still thinking wrongly of Byung-sang. How dare you deceive your senior? At this point, he has finished picking up the documents. He clutches them tightly, which gets Daeji's attention. Byung-sang looks him straight in the eye and smirks. Then he holds an item up in front of him. Byung-sang speaks respectfully. I didn't use AI and do a sloppy translation. I did my absolute best, so I hope you'll take a look. Daegi becomes even angrier. What did you say? But Byung-sang remains firm. I didn't use AI and do a sloppy translation. With a sincere attitude, he shouts, please, take another look. Daegi's fists clench. He helplessly holds his head in frustration. Then, Daegi compromises. Fine, leave them here. But remember, if they don't meet the standard, I won't let it slide. Yes, I know. After that, Byung-sang also leaves, leaving Daegi alone with the stack of documents. His eyes are fixed on it for a moment. He picks up the USB that Byung-sang left behind. Now for this, he plugs it into his computer. I'll check it thoroughly on the screen. Daegi clicks on the file. And I will. Daegi's whole being is like an erupting volcano. Definitely find every mistake. Sometime later, his other assistant comes in and announces, it's perfect. Daegi looks as if he's been hit on the head with a hammer. What? He excitedly holds the document in his hands. Even though you gave it to me very early, there's nothing to fix. No typos. Not even in the footnotes. These are all words of praise. He keeps thinking about which company did it. When you give an urgent job to someone, often they do it carelessly. But this is absolutely perfect. Which company did this? At that moment, Daegi is on the phone with someone, and they seem very pleased with this work. Lawyer Du, how did you get this translated? Was it a translation company? The content is very clear, and it seems the translator has legal knowledge. Our team might ask for them next time. Can you give us a recommendation? Daegi, looking awkward and dazed, gives a vague reply. It was a top-tier person. The person on the other end is still cheerfully coaxing. There can't be someone like that. Let me treat you to a meal, huh? He's breaking out in a sweat. I'll think about it later. After hanging up, Daegi falls into a pensive silence. His face shows he never expected this outcome. This isn't what I meant to happen, but it ended up getting so much praise. What the hell is this? Byung-sang, 3 days later. Back to our main character. He's talking to his mother on the phone. So you don't have to go to the hospital anymore? His mother replies, that's right. Byung-sang sighs. I told you not to go to the store for a while. The accident was a long time ago, and you've only just now fully recovered. On the other end, his mother says helplessly, you're always nagging. Then she asks, how are you, son? Is work going okay? Every word she speaks reveals her worried state. There aren't any strange people there, are there? I mean, it's a big company, so. Because of what happened before, Byung-sang walks and replies, no, there's nothing like that here. But what do you mean? After hearing that, she exclaims, really? He continues to reassure his mother. Everyone here treats me very well. What a relief. I know you worry a lot. Holding a glass of water, Byung-sang sighs. Mom, don't worry about your grown-up son anymore. Rest completely today. Don't go to the store, okay? All right, big brother. Then he hangs up, and Byung-sang sighs again. Just then, a pair of legs walks up to him. The person calls his name, startling him. Lawyer Byung-sang. It's Lawyer Kim. He scratches his head, smiles brightly, and asks, thanks for your help the other day. Lawyer Do didn't give you a hard time, did he? Remembering Daegi's fierce image, I heard you're very good at translating. So, could you do this one too? Korean to English shouldn't be a problem, right? Byung-sang forces a smile. Daegi's bullet-like glare keeps appearing in his mind. It's not too urgent, but the sooner the better. You did 600 pages in less than 3 days, so this probably won't be a problem, right? Byung-sang's face is covered in sweat, but he still replies, well, Not exactly, but lawyer Kim cuts him off with an eager, expectant look. Really? Yes. Then he hands him a USB. What a relief. Then, I'm sorry, but if you could you help translate this document too? Yes. Lawyer Kim earnestly instructs. It's a little long, but you'll have enough time, so you can probably do it. You're still working on the part lawyer Do gave you, right? Don't worry. I've already told him. After hearing that, Byung-sang also gives a broad, cheerful smile. Yes. But inside, he's panicking. Submitting it too quickly became a problem? Lawyer Kim leaves. He also thinks, but this is an urgent matter. Byung-sang looks at the USB in his hand. Then he clutches it in his hand. Above all, Byung-sang drinks his coffee and steels his resolve. I want to become someone worthy of being here. A little about the main character's past. My first job was at a small law office. The Yang A Law Office. A place completely devoid of humanity. At that time, his old boss had a very angry expression. Why are you so slow to understand, huh? How many more days will you waste before you finish this case, huh? Get it done. And write the petition so we can quickly move on to the next case. Byung-sang stands before him, cowering. I'm sorry, but he keeps scolding him, and then compares him to others. Nobody else works like you do. You work so slowly. Who are you trying to show off your fancy resume to, huh? Byung-sang doesn't dare to talk back. The person who hired me was a lawyer, a partner from a large law firm. They were very skilled and handled many cases. But there's something else. Another memory. This guy's face is purple with rage. What? Now Byung-sang recounts everything. The client is Filipino, so things took a little longer. Because he's a foreigner, there seemed to be some communication issues. During the investigation, the boss frowns as he listens. So I reviewed the records from the first trial, and even though the client was so drunk he couldn't remember anything, the record still shows that he confessed. At this, he sighs. So that's what you did, huh? He covers his mouth and utters 2 words. Up to you. Then his face wrinkles up like a monkey's butt again. If he really confessed, this guy's hand grabs a notebook without any mercy. He smacks it hard against Byung-sang's forehead, then laughs contemptuously. Why didn't you even bother to try and prove whether it was a lie or not? You idiot. Stop wasting time. Focus on getting results and proving your worth. His hand hits while his mouth preaches endlessly. Use your brain. Byung-sang can only endure the humiliation. I have to endure this. His old boss continues to yell non-stop. At least you should do your part correctly. Do you think your retainer fee is paid with the client's money? Don't tell me you're late just because you had to translate Filipino. You didn't even study abroad, and you think you're so great? Do you think you're an international lawyer, huh? At that moment, Byung-sang purses his lips, full of resentment. He's just someone I can't communicate with. His eyes are welling up with tears. I'm sorry. Byung-sang complains, I had to endure it no matter what happened. At least, that was until my mother's accident. At that time, he stood outside the hospital room, begging, please, just until I can find someone to take care of my mother. But the only reply was a cold sentence. Why should I do that? Byung-sang pleaded with the person on the other end of the line. Byung-sang, I understand your mother's situation, but taking time off right now is just pushing all your work onto your colleagues, isn't it? I thought you were a good person. But it turns out you're really selfish. He could only remain silent and listen to those angry words. Don't you realize you're slower than others? If that's the case, you should be putting in double the effort. Why, you think you're the only one with a family and personal problems? So what? You want to quit? Don't be ridiculous. After that, I quit. And just like that, I left the Yang A Law Office. Then, this was the moment he discovered the secret space. In the afternoon, at Byung-sang and his mother's house. At this time, in the attic room, Byung-sang continues to carry things up to the room. He coughs and chokes on the dust. Oh man, I should have worn a mask. Suddenly, he notices something. Looking over at the cabinet, a book has just fallen. Ah, a book? Byung-sang walks over and picks it up. He's startled as he looks at the gap in front of him. It's the very safe that opens the secret space. Your eyes were glued to it back then. After leaving Jiang'a Law Office, time just passed by, until an opportunity came. It was when you, Byung-sang, applied to the Gyeomgang firm. You sat before the interview panel. Yes, you submitted an application to our law firm last year, correct? Byung-sang was suddenly baffled, not understanding. Last year? Last year. Maybe I did. Then he suddenly remembered something. He recalled that time before. An email message appeared on the screen. I got in. The 3 buddies were getting completely wasted together. We're international lawyers now. Byung-sang was ecstatic at that moment. I'm a lawyer now too. Hey, should I try applying to Gyeomgang? His drunk friend supported the idea. Awesome. Just give it a shot. What if they actually pick you? Then a barely conscious Byung-sang thought it was a good idea. Right? And he did as he said. He opened his computer. International lawyer. Byung-sang. Ha, let's do this. His information was on the screen. Let's go for it. Then Byung-sang moved the mouse towards the apply button. And now, at this moment, he thought blankly, are you saying my application was really accepted? Then Deji spoke up and asked, are you sure you applied? You didn't forget, did you? Ah, no, sir. Byung-sang forced a smile. I did apply. That was me. After that, the interview went quite smoothly, with reasonable questions, and as things were about to conclude, Deji spoke up. Mr. Byung-sang, he put on a serious face. What is your relationship with attorney Kang Tae-san? Byung-sang was immediately flustered. Excuse me, sir? His mind was in turmoil. It can't be. The gang in Gang? He then scratched his head and answered hesitantly, if you mean the co-managing partner of Gang, then I've never even met him. Deji looked at him thoughtfully for a moment, then announced, I see. You can start work next week. Huh? Next week? What? Is there a problem with next week for you? No, there's no problem at all, sir. Byung-sang left the company, still in disbelief. I got a job, but don't they usually announce the results separately later? Then, countless questions popped into his head, and it's been a long time since I sent my application. Why did they only contact me now? What's this about attorney Kang Tae-san? But then he reasoned, even if they're always hiring foreign attorneys, something still feels off. With my resume, I'm not even qualified to set foot in Gang. Byung-sang clenched one hand into a fist. His expression was determined. I don't know what's coming, but I will do my absolute best. This is the journey to conquer the mountain, the towering mountain named Gang. Now, Byung-sang gave a helpless smile. And that's how I got hired. He was standing in front of Deji. I figured something like this would happen. But Deji adjusted his glasses and said, Are you saying you did all of this by yourself? Really, Mr. Byung-sang? He squeezed his eyes shut and thought to himself with a sigh, I knew I'd be treated like this one way or another. But Byung-sang replied respectfully, Yes, I did it alone. I've been able to do this much on my own all this time. He fell silent for a moment, about to say more, then he asked Deji decisively, Do you think I need someone's help to do this job, sir? He pushed up his glasses and answered firmly, Yes, I do. At this, Byung-sang spoke his mind. If you think that, just based on my education or my experience, then that's not fair. Hearing this, Deji stood up angrily. Why not? He began to explain clearly. You might not know this, but at Gang, the interview waiting room, with your qualifications, you absolutely have no business setting foot in here. Byung-sang still tried to assert his innocence, but the truth is, I haven't done anything wrong. I have absolutely no connection to attorney Tae-san, but his heart was in turmoil. He already sees me as scum. No matter what I say, it won't be enough to change his mind. But suddenly, Deji looked at him seriously. Is that so? Then he exclaimed, Then that's even stranger. But whatever. I don't intend to investigate it separately anyway. Byung-sang froze, lost in thought, cold logic, but unwavering, to convince this man. He kept asking himself, so what should I do? Just then, Deji waved his hand. That's enough. What did I tell you, Mr. Byung-sang? But Byung-sang cut him off with his own determination. I'll do it myself. Hearing this, Deji was stunned. What? Byung-sang was deep in thought. If he's already decided to see me as just an errand boy, then nothing I say has any value. Because if there's nothing to prove it, then I'll just have to. Then he spoke up. I will translate it myself, with an excited and expectant look, right here in your office. I'll prove it with my actions, no matter how many times or how long it takes. And just like that, Byung-sang dragged his computer in and started working in Deji's office. Deji worked while observing him. I gave you a 30-page English contract. He smirked to himself. If you really translate all of it yourself, I will finish them within 2 hours. Time passed, minute by minute, second by second. Byung-sang remained focused on his work. My English ability is no better than an international student's. His eyes showed a look of determination. But over the past month, the number of pages I've translated, he recalled his time in the hidden space. Byung-sang sat diligently at his desk, translating. A lot, 5,000 pages. He was very diligent. I spent the past year in that space. Time continued to flow relentlessly. People call it the 10,000-hour rule. The clock hand pointed to 6. During that time, I just buried my head in translating legal documents like a madman. At this moment, Byung-sang's hands were still flying across the keyboard. He thought cheerfully, so, a 30-page English contract? 1 hour is more than enough. A moment later, Deji's voice echoed in the room. You can go now. Byung-sang, having just finished his work, replied respectfully, Yes, sir. See you tomorrow. Deji carefully reviewed his work. Exactly 58 minutes. He marveled to himself. Perfect. Clear and not cluttered at all. Then Deji leaned back and thought for a moment. He felt a bit embarrassed and ashamed of his own actions. It was ridiculous from the start to test an attorney's translation skills. His gaze became resolute again. Anyway, he's quite good. He remembered the last time a person insisted. Kang Tae-san. This person stood before Deji and revealed, he's the person that attorney Tae-san recommended. His eyes were still staring at Byung's translation. Sang, so I thought he was just a useless errand boy who was forced into that position. Eliminating the cancerous tumors in this law firm, this is my mission. There's nothing to regret. Then he reached for the phone. To the maritime team, Yoon Sang, the person in the room, quickly picked up the phone. He greeted, Yes, this is Yoon Sang-ho from the maritime team speaking. The other side introduced himself. Attorney, this is Deji. Sang Ho was surprised. Oh, Attorney Do. What can I do for you? If it's someone who can benefit our firm, Deji's voice asked, didn't you say not long ago that you need a lawyer fluent in both Korean and English? Yes, that's right. Did you find someone? Deji smiled cheerfully. He confirmed seriously. Yes, there's a new lawyer here from Washington, D.C. Assigning them appropriate work is also my responsibility. Flashback to Byom Sang's childhood. The game I played as a kid allowed you to choose all sorts of different professions. Summoner, musician, intellect, strength, speed. It might sound like a familiar storyline from an RPG, but there was something special about this game. You could change your profession mid-game. Back then, he moved the mouse over the words, change profession. The game system prompted, please select a profession for the character. First, I developed the main character as a swordsman, mastering magic and the wave of destruction skill. Then, I chose summoner as my second profession, and summoned the Dragon King, Bahamut. Even after finishing all the quests, I continued to develop my character by choosing various other professions, like thief, musician, and so on and so forth. By doing that, my character mastered countless skills, and that brought me much more joy than just following the raider. Main storyline of the game. Back to the present. An open book was placed on the table. Byom Sang was in the secret space, working diligently. Honestly, translating something with no end in sight is no fun at all. Certainly, there's a part of me that's resilient and competitive, that helps me endure, but the dark circles under his eyes were already showing. Let's see who wins. However, the time I invested never betrayed me, and during that time, I earned a new title, Translator. He clenched his hand into a fist, showing his determination. Byom Sang was excited and happy. This is really stimulating. Now, finally, I understand how to use the secret space. Then he opened his phone. Byom Sang was texting with Ki Jun. What are you doing tomorrow? Watching the store or something? No. Why? Let's go somewhere tomorrow. And just like that, it was Saturday morning. International Electronics Center. Byom Sang and Ki Jun appeared here. It's been a while, huh? This place is still the same. Why'd you bring me here? Ki Jun's face suddenly turned panicked. Don't tell me. He turned to look at Byom Sang and exclaimed in disbelief. A PS5? Byom Sang cheerfully confirmed. That's right. Then Ki Jun held his head in agony. Dude, I'm so jealous I could die. This is the struggle of a married man. Byom Sang suddenly cut in. But you already have a PS4, a Switch, and gaming PCs. Ki Jun beat his chest defiantly. A PS4? How can you compare that to a PS5, man? What do you think married men across the country would think if they heard you say that? Anyway, then the two got down to business. So what games are you planning to play? They're only discounted here. First of all, I'll buy 3 bundles and about 3 to 4 other games to try out. It'll probably take more than 2 months to finish them all. My friend, Ki Jun, has a mysterious ability. Just then, a hand was held out, saying, 1, but Ki Jun firmly held up 2 fingers. 2, 3. Then they picked up 3 items, and the two started to haggle. Just 2, no more than that. I'm not even making a profit. Ki Jun had the upper hand. It's a little boring with just 2, especially since I bought the console and the games already. Just 1 more. Byom Sang, in the background, chuckled at Ki's haggling skills. Jun's skills have been naturally good since middle school, when buying game discs. It was like he was possessed by one of those ladies at the market. After a while of back and forth, the young salesman looked dejected, like a puppy that lost its bone. As for Ki Jun, he was as happy as can be. That's my boy. That's it. Ki Jun spoke up. How much is the total? You really saved a good bit of money thanks to me, huh? I get it, okay. I'll treat you to dinner. Hearing this, Ki Jun was puzzled. It's not even lunchtime yet. Where are we going now? Byom Sang replied excitedly. There's a place we need to go. The two of them had now arrived at a campsite. Ki Jun suddenly realized. This guy. This must be why he told me to bring the van. Looks like he really planned on using me as a porter. You got sharper after getting married, huh? Ki Jun replied. If I'm not sharp, I'm dead meat. This left Byom Sang speechless. Ah. Just to survive. Then Ki Jun's expression became bewildered again. Hey, he pointed at the pile of stuff in the trunk. Are you evacuating somewhere? He even saw a toilet. Why would you need a portable toilet? Byom Sang gave a forced smile, remembering his mom worrying about him going to the bathroom every night. Then he replied, going camping with my mom. Ki Jun, half believing, half doubting, lifted it up. Carrying a toilet all this way and I haven't even had dinner yet. So are you actually going to treat me to dinner or what? Byom Sang held up a card like a god. Tonight, we're eating Hanwoo beef. When Ki Jun heard that, he did a complete 180. Sit tight. Allow me to take care of you from head to toe, sir. Byom Sang happily played along with him. You've worked hard, Mr. Jun. Then he recalled the past again. I didn't have many friends. When I was little, I was quiet and small for my age. Back then, he was thrown against a wall. The guys in his class were the ones who pushed him like that. Maybe for that reason, I was always a target for bullies. Even though it was nighttime, they were still threatening him. They kicked him straight in the face. Byom Sang coughed in pain. Seeing this, they became even more delighted. One of them stepped forward and grabbed his hair. "Hey, Beom-sang, you're the one who used to get bullied." This guy threatened him. "Wipe that dead look off your face." Beom-sang was all alone then, slumped over his desk. "If you just keep to yourself like that, you'll easily become a target." Suddenly, a hand pulled him up. Beom-sang. Ki-jun was the only friend I had. Ki-jun firmly invited him out. "Let's go to the PC Bang." Beom-sang looked at him, unable to hold back his frustration, and just like that, his pain flowed out as tears. Ki-jun just quietly patted his shoulder. If I could ever invite someone into the secret space, this guy would definitely be the first guest. Back to the present, the two had gone out to eat and were grilling meat. "Hey, but how much does the Gyeomgang firm pay?" Ki-jun made a gesture. "This much? You know what I mean, right? This much?" Beom-sang held up 10 fingers. "About this much. Yeah." Ki-jun was completely astonished. "That's insane. That's Gyeomgang for you." Then Ki-jun smiled, happy for his friend. "By a lot then." Beom-sang was also happy in this moment. The two started teasing each other again. "So, buy more then? More gold again? That's why you should give me a friendly price. Otherwise, I'll buy from somewhere else." "Alright my friend." Change of scene, at the company, whispers were echoing. "Did you hear? About attorney Kang Tai-san pushing a foreign lawyer into the firm? What? And attorney Do just let it happen?" In the lounge of the international arbitration team members, the murmuring continued without stopping. "I thought something was strange." 3 employees were arguing. "He's been like that since he was an intern. He hates people who get positions they don't deserve, who don't try. If you think nothing is impossible." Attorney Kim kept talking, not noticing the horrified expression on the person in front of him. "I'm a little disappointed." His words were sharp, but finally, a beautiful female figure was approaching. Hey, stop. Why can't I stop talking?" he whispered worriedly. "Do Ha-young." Do Ha-young. She had also appeared from behind the group. Ha-young spoke up, making attorney Kim turn completely red. "Why are you all like this?" He turned his head away, panicking. "Attorney Do?" she replied coldly. "What?" Ha-young questioned seriously. "Were you talking about me behind my back?" A gloomy sky embraced the towering skyscrapers, creating a serene urban landscape. At the same time, Beom-sang carefully knocked on the door. A deep voice unexpectedly rang out from inside. "Come in." He immediately entered, looking at Daeji, who was sitting behind the desk. "You called for me, sir?" He nodded slightly and then smiled. "Attorney Han." Hearing this, Beom-sang was slightly surprised. He always calls me Han Beom-sang, but suddenly Daeji made an announcement. "Starting next week, you don't need to come work here anymore." His eyes widened at the unexpected news. "Excuse me?" At Beom-sang's surprised expression, Daeji suddenly smirked. He saw him smile maliciously while adjusting his glasses. "From now on, you'll be working in the maritime team. You know where that is, right?" he repeated in a bewildered tone. "The maritime team?" According to what Beom-sang had researched, there are 2 fields where foreign lawyers can be recognized in Korean law firms, especially in the maritime field because ships frequently travel between countries. If he remembered correctly, someone had even said that the role of an international lawyer there is very important. A moment later, Daeji didn't forget to mock. "What's wrong? Not confident?" Beom-sang immediately denied it. "No, that's not it, sir." It's true that Beom-sang didn't know much about that field, but he was still looking forward to it, because he also wanted to try his hand at the new title that he had just obtained. Beom-sang smiled faintly, his eyes shining with determination. "Thank you. I will do my best." In another development, Ha-young walked in, her gaze scanning the room. "What is it? Are you guys talking about me?" One person in the group quickly forced a smile. "What are you talking about?" The other quickly explained. "Oh no. Why would we talk bad about Attorney Do behind her back?" One woman raised an eyebrow slightly, not hiding her suspicion. "Really? Then why did you all suddenly go quiet when I walked in?" Another person quickly spoke up, his voice tinged with awkwardness. Attorney Do, have you heard about that international lawyer?" He lifted his head with an embarrassed look. "Is it really possible to get a job through that kind of school? Sounds pretty amazing." I'm not sure about the internal connections." Right after that, he suddenly pointed at Ha-young. "But we also have someone here who graduated from an IR school." She suddenly became hesitant. I heard he moved to the maritime team." Another person blurted out. "Really?" She nodded slightly. "Yeah, Attorney Beck said so." The other person suddenly felt suspicious. "Isn't the maritime team a really strict team?" Ha-young unexpectedly spoke up sternly. "It's not just ordinarily strict. Aren't they like the Avengers team? All elite people. The entry requirement is graduating from top Korean universities. Many even graduated as valedictorians from the training center." She suddenly looked up into the distance. "I felt it too during my internship. There's really a lot to learn there." The person next to her nodded in agreement. Attorney Do probably feels it too, because she's also brilliant. He continued to speak with a praising tone. "From the perspective of a regular lawyer, you're just an ordinary person among a group of geniuses. Especially if you only graduated from a regular school, that feeling is even more apparent." Hearing this, Ha Yong couldn't help but be skeptical. Is that really true? She suddenly turned, her eyes lighting up. Anyway, this is clearly a good opportunity. Meanwhile, Byom Sang enthusiastically walked in. Good morning. This time, let me. His face suddenly froze like a rock. In the brightly lit room, documents were flying everywhere, a group of people rushing around. Ji-hyun urgently picked up the phone. Yes, I'll prepare it right away. The salary and bonus criteria have changed too, right? If so, before we do. A moment later, she subconsciously turned to look at him. After observing for a moment, Ji-hyun suddenly spoke. You're the new person who joined today, right? Then follow me. Byom Sang hurried after her. Yes. Right after that, Ji-hyun brought over a stack of documents. Here, she stopped at a desk, placing a thick stack of documents on it. These are the documents for the cases our team is handling. Study them carefully. If there's any part you don't understand, don't hesitate to ask directly. Having said that, Ji-hyun hurriedly walked out. Yes, I am Song Ji-hyun. He stared blankly at her retreating back. Is that it? Byom Sang glanced at the pile of documents. Even though there are fewer people compared to other teams, the workload is no joke. He pressed his lips together, trying to reassure himself. Okay, but if I just tackle one thing at a time, it'll get done. Byom Sang kept telling himself, let's begin. And so, 3 weeks of hell began. In less than half a day, In Chan suddenly called. Attorney Han, come to my office. There's an email that needs to be sent to Scott about Korean maritime law right now. He replied quickly, without any hesitation. Yes, I'll be right there. At that very moment, his colleague suddenly called out loudly. Attorney Han. Byom Sang politely turned around. Attorney Yi-hoon. He suddenly pushed a stack of documents into his hands. When the office in England opens, we'll have an online meeting with SA. Join us. Hearing that, Byom Sang screamed internally. Even though I've asked, there's so much information that it's impossible to remember it all. Why doesn't this team hire more people? Back to In Chan, he looked up at the window. A moment later, In Chan reached for the phone. As soon as the phone stopped ringing, he spoke in a cold tone. Attorney Han, come to my office for a moment. He is Baek In Chan, the senior partner attorney of the maritime team. As soon as he arrived, he turned and asked pressingly, do you know about the MV Stella S collision case? What's the status of the English contract draft? I've scheduled a video call with the other ship owner this afternoon. Hearing this, Byom Sang hesitated for a moment. Yes. In Chan looked up. What is it? Is there a problem? His eyes widened, and he mumbled subconsciously, you said that would be discussed in a separate internal meeting. Byom Sang's heart began to race. There's a problem. Actually, the internal meeting about the draft settlement agreement was supposed to be scheduled last week, but because Attorney Beck was too busy, we still haven't had the meeting. Alright, just draft it to the best of your ability and submit it to me. In Chan glanced at him with a meaningful look. There's probably a template from a similar case to reference. Just give it a shot and submit it by 5 o'clock at the latest, okay? Byom Sang stood silently before him, his lips slightly parted. You're telling me to write and submit a contract for a case I've never even heard of before, and it has to be done by 5 p.m. today? Is that even possible? He instinctively asked again. By 5 o'clock? Faced with Byom Sang's confusion, he nodded in confirmation. Yes, because the meeting is at 6. If you finish it perfectly, you can submit it right at that time. Byom Sang frowned, trying to suppress a sigh. Are you kidding me? Feeling the cold gaze from him, he couldn't help but be stunned. Not kidding? Byom Sang continued to move his lips silently. I see, In Chan continued coldly. What, you can't do it? Immediately, he shouted with determination. No sir, I'll do it. A moment later, Byom Sang walked out of the office of Maritime Team Leader Beck In Chan, and he unconsciously recalled his promise. I'll take care of it. Later, Byom Sang nervously knocked on a door. Even so, I can't do a sloppy job. It's best if I ask Attorney Yoon Sang-ho now. As soon as she saw him, Ji-yoon immediately became guarded. Attorney Yoon is on his way to Busan. What is it? Hearing this, Byom Sang replied dazedly. Oh, she tilted her head with a curious expression. He's not in the office right now. He has a matter at the Busan District Court. What's going on? He scratched his head awkwardly. I've just been assigned to draft the contract for the MV Stella case, so. Hearing this, Ji-yoon immediately replied, I can at least help you review it. But unfortunately, I have a meeting after 3 o'clock. So, how about then? Byom Sang immediately shook his head, forcing a strained smile. Thank you, but the deadline is 5 o'clock. Sive. I'll try to do it myself for now. She could only nod in response. Alright, if you need anything, let me know right away. Ji-yoon silently observed him, her face showing deep thought. Drafting a contract in just half a day is really too much for a newcomer. Thinking this, she sighed wearily. Attorney Baek In Chan can be really something. I wonder what kind of test he's planning this time. Over here, Byom Sang hurriedly walked to the printing station. The scene shifts to the office, where light shines in. Only his hands are seen. typing quickly on the keyboard. Byung-sang's eyes were glued to the contract template on the computer screen. Even after looking at the template, I still don't know where to start. He walked outside helplessly. There's no one left to ask. What should I do now? Suddenly, his gaze fell on a small potted plant in the corner of the room. A plant. A thought immediately flashed through his mind. That's right, there's still someone I can ask. The scene shifts to Namu Hyun Law Office. Inside, the phone was ringing non-stop. The screen showed the name Byung-sang. Inside the office, a man repeatedly asked, "Has the ship's schedule for this trip been confirmed? When is the departure planned?" Meanwhile, Myeon answered the phone in surprise. "Byung-sang?" he replied politely. "Myeon Hyung, it's me. Can you talk for a minute?" He spoke in a deep, warm voice. "Yeah, it's fine. What's up?" He hesitated a bit, then sighed. "I wanted to ask, if I want to learn maritime law, what books are best to read?" Hearing this, Myeon couldn't help but feel surprised. "What? You're in Gyeomgang's maritime team?" Byung-sang seemed quite embarrassed. "I'm still kind of like an intern, but I don't really have a grasp on the work yet." He tapped his fingers on the desk thoughtfully. "I see. If it's books." A moment later, Myeon smiled faintly. "There are a few pretty good reference books." On the other end of the line, his eyes widened. His voice stretched out with curiosity. "Huh? What's that?" In another development, a door burst open. Ji-yoon slapped her forehead. "Oh my god. I forgot the meeting materials again." Her gaze unconsciously darted in one direction. She saw Byung-sang diligently organizing a pile of documents. Ji-yoon didn't hesitate and immediately pulled the door open. She burst inside decisively. As soon as he saw Ji-yoon, he shouted in surprise, "Attorney Song!" She stopped, her gaze fixed, as if waiting for an explanation. "Attorney Han, what are you doing?" Byung-sang said as he gathered his things. "I have to go home for a bit." Hearing this, Ji-yoon looked at the pile of documents in astonishment. "Home? You're taking that whole pile of books with you?" He firmly replied, "Yes. I'll be back before 5. If Attorney Baek is looking for me, please let him know." She was confused for a moment, then agreed. "All right." Immediately after, Byung-sang rushed out of the office. He was clearly aware of one thing. This looks really strange, but this is the only way. If I do a sloppy job, I won't survive here. At the same time, an announcement rang out. Maritime Law, Theory, by Attorney Choi Jung-hyun. Explanation of the Seafarers Act, Attorney Kwon Jong-dong. Maritime Law, Yvonne Botts. Byung-sang stepped into a cold puddle. "It seems my senior completely misunderstood my situation. I actually need books that are easy to understand, easy to read in a short amount of time." But he recommended books that would take a whole year to finish. He looked up at the sign. "Of course, I don't mind. I just need to read them all." As soon as the thought finished, Byung-sang immediately went to the library. "Excuse me, do you have the comic Chronicles of the Sea King here?" The librarian jolted awake. "I must have dozed off. That 45-volume series?" He nodded without hesitation. "Yes, that's the one. Please let me check them all out." The librarian's eyes widened. His face couldn't hide his surprise. "Huh? All of them?" After saying that, he turned to search the shelves. He muttered non-stop, "Is this guy an otaku?" A moment later, the librarian slammed the stack of books on the counter. "Here you go." Byung-sang looked excitedly at the full box of books. "Thank you." Meanwhile, In-chan shouted in astonishment, "He went home?" Ji-yoon nodded as if to confirm. "Yes, he even took books from the meeting room with him. It's already 5:20. Hearing this, his mood was nearly in turmoil. "I was actually a bit worried about giving that task to a new person, so I was going to check on him." In-chan rushed into the office. He looked straight at Byung-sang's work corner. His eyes narrowed. And yet he went home. What is he thinking? In-chan walked out wearily. "Forget it. I'd better do it myself." I thought he was a pretty capable person, since the first impression was good. At that very moment, hurried footsteps were heard. Byung-sang rushed in, flinging the door open. He panted as he said, "Sorry I'm late, sir." As soon as he saw Byung-sang, In-chan immediately questioned him. "Why did you go home? Did your mother suddenly faint?" He shook his head in denial. "No, my mother is fine. I just..." Instantly, Byung-sang presented a document. "Here is the draft of the English contract, just as you requested." He took the discussion contract with a confused look. In-chan's face gradually changed, his eyes narrowing. Meanwhile, he was diligently explaining, "Because I revised a few parts. While in the taxi on the way here, there are some sections I wrote by hand. If you could give me 5 more minutes." In-chan rubbed his head. "Is this kid really joking?" He replied wearily. "All right, I get it. Just leave it there." Hearing that, Byung-sang continued to say more. "The video conference." In-chan once again replied curtly, "It's not necessary. Just do your work. I'll join the meeting." At his cold reply, his heart sank a little. Immediately after, In-chan left without another word. He felt a little annoyed. It's useless to get angry with someone you couldn't rely on from the start. In-chan just hung his head low. "Consider yourself lucky that I'm over 60. If I were just 10 years younger." At that very moment, Byung-sang suddenly called out loudly, "Attorney Baek." He turned to look at him with an urgent gaze. "I'm begging you. In the face of Inchan's angry expression, Beom-sang didn't hesitate to persuade him. Please just check it once. Now, Beom-sang's eyes widened, showing his surprise. Is that so? In English law, set-off is divided into two types. One is traditional set-off. An illustration appears. The questioner, when are you going to pay me back the 100,000 won? The respondent, but you also owe me 70,000 won, right? So that leaves 30,000 won. The other type is independent, set-off, which can only be done through court proceedings. Party B must pay 100,000 won, but Party A also borrowed 70,000 won from me. Not allowed. In that situation, why didn't the defendant say so sooner? According to the research paper by Professor Seo Gwang-hyo, the latter type of set-off is considered a procedural legal action. Daeji was equally stunned. If we establish the competent court, as London in the contract, and designate domestic law as the applicable law, then your side claims damages, and my side demands repair costs, so we can consider it a wash. Beom-sang continued without stopping. Claims related to the accident are fine, but if we want to set off issues that arise during negotiations as well, shouldn't we specify the applicable law more clearly? Also, at this moment, Daeji's voice cut in. That's enough. He held up his hand and raised a question. You've read Professor Seo Gwang-hyo's paper? Yes. For the agreement being drafted? Yes, that's right. Then he glanced at the watch on his wrist. There are about 10 minutes left until the meeting. Then Daeji said, all right, you can go out. Leave the document here. Yes, sir. Beom-sang walked out with a dejected mood. This made Daeji wonder, what in the world is wrong with this guy? Soon, the evening came, and the sun set. Beom-sang let out a sigh and entered his room. He sat down and picked up a stack of documents. What a shame. I was just starting to understand the issue then. The problem was that I miscalculated the time. There are too many things to do outside of the secret space. At that time, he frantically urged the driver, Sir, please hurry. If you want to get around quickly in Seoul, you should absolutely not take a taxi. The word helpless was written all over his face. Of course, from an attorney's perspective, whether I work hard or not doesn't matter. However, Beom-sang looked at the sticky note. Then he turned on his computer screen. I can't leave things like this. A moment later, Daeji stepped outside. I'm so tired. A notebook with a message caught his attention. Daeji quickly picked it up to look. What's this? The note Beom-sang left. I'm truly sorry. Please review it one time. Han Beom-sang. Instantly, his body flared up with anger. That insolent brat. Should I just throw this away? Then he remembered his demeanor. And according to the research paper by Professor Seo Gwang-hyo, and so, Daeji sat down with the notebook. Let's see what he wrote. An image of a large sailing ship on the sea appears. Captain Baek-in-chan looked ahead through his binoculars. He's here. Lower the crane. Yes, Captain. Then he looked over at the other boat. Did you catch anything good? Captain. Daeji played the role of a captain. What impressive thing could a greenhorn rookie bring? What's taking so long? A turtle would be faster than you. Beom-sang sat in the small boat with his prize. Sorry I'm late, Captain. There was so much stuff, it took a while to bring it all. Captain Daeji was astonished. I didn't expect him to be able to do this much when I assigned the task, and in reality, his expression was exactly the same. Daeji looked at the information that Beom-sang left and marveled to himself. It takes at least 3 years of experience to write like this. Aside from the notes, this version could be submitted as is. Then he closed the notebook. But Daeji helplessly remembered the image of him smiling brightly as he went home. Is he diligent or lazy? A moment later, he picked up the phone. Attorney Yoon, about the meeting with Hyunjin Shipping the day after tomorrow, I don't think you need to come. The other end of the line was confused. What? But Attorney Song also has a trial that day. That's right. But I want to bring Han Beom-sang along this time. The scene shifts to Hyunjin Shipping, Incheon Port Office. Beom-sang was here, and someone was walking ahead. A foreign passenger ship. We collided with a domestic vessel. No casualties, but the ship and cargo were both damaged. This is a worst-case scenario, he said in a serious tone. Right. Ultimately, it's still about determining who is responsible. Just focus on taking good notes. Beom-sang immediately replied, Yes, sir. A moment later, the two were sitting across from someone. At the time of the collision, what were the sea conditions and circumstances? He had a lifeless expression. The waves were so strong the ship was rocking violently. As he listened, Beom-sang typed rapidly. The fog was so thick I couldn't see ahead. About 10 minutes before the collision, I saw the red navigation light of the other ship. Suddenly, Beom-sang was astonished. Thick fog, the ship was unstable. The other ship's red light. Yoon turned to him, confused. Attorney Han, did you get all that down? Did you miss anything? Yes, Beom-sang awkwardly asked Han. But, attorney, may I ask the captain a question in that situation? Is that okay? Sure, go ahead and ask. His expression immediately became serious. You said you saw the red navigation light of the other ship 10 minutes before the collision, is that correct? Remembering that moment, he replied immediately. Yes, that's right. Suddenly, he slammed his hand on the stack of documents. But, Byum-sang stated his judgment. The officer on watch said that because the fog was too thick, they couldn't even see the masthead light. His eyes showed a look of determination. So who is telling the truth? Hearing his sharp reasoning, he suddenly turned pale. Attorney Yoon's face broke into a satisfied smile. Later, Byum-sang was in a room. Seeing him so awkward, the person in front of him reminded him, "It's okay, sit comfortably." He thought to himself, "Did I do something wrong?" A voice called out, "Attorney Han," making Byum-sang jump. "Yes, sir?" Attorney Yoon tilted his head, observing him. "Could it be? Have you ever served on a ship? Or maybe he served in the Navy?" Byum-sang replied somewhat awkwardly. "No, I've never been on a ship. I'm not a Navy veteran either." Hearing this, Yoon was even more confused. "Really? That's strange. That question from earlier. It's hard to ask a question like that just from studying theory." And with that, he walked over and patted him on the shoulder in praise. "Anyway, good job. Keep up the good work." The sudden praise made him blush with embarrassment. "Thank you, sir." The scene shifts to the Gyeomgang Company building. The blinding sunlight shone inside. At Building A, 14th floor, the Maritime Office. A voice echoed from inside. "That's all for today." Yoon suddenly called out, "Attorney Han." "Yes, sir?" He looked at him seriously. "At Pohang, the starboard side of the vessel, MV Amelie, they are working on the cofferdam above the bulbous bow. A surveyor from Hong Kong is coming, so contact the agent and arrange the port call schedule. Also, contact the surveyor from the shipowner's side, the opposing party, and ask if they want to conduct a joint inspection." Then Byum-sang replied with determination, "Yes, I understand." Then Yoon asked him again, "Are you really familiar with this?" Then Byum-sang added, "You're talking about the bow repairs on the Amelie, which just docked last week, right? Since the ship is leaving port next week, we need to perform temporary waterproofing first. The shipowner's surveyor will arrive the day after tomorrow, so we need to coordinate the schedule through Hyoseong Shipbuilding. And you want me to check if the other side wants to attend, is that right?" Hearing those fluent words, Yoon smiled faintly. "That's right, exactly." He marveled to himself. Listening to him talk, it's like he's been out there for years. At this moment, someone cracked the door open and called, "Attorney Han, can you revise the termination clauses of the MV Ocean Glory's contract as requested by the client and submit it?" Byum-sang quickly replied, "Yes, I understand. But if we add those conditions, could the other party use it as a pretext to declare the clause void?" He wondered. On what grounds? He was a bit stumped by this question. Actually, Byum-sang laughed cheerfully and held up a stack of documents. "I've looked through some recent awards from the London Maritime Arbitrators Association and found this. Would you like to take a look?" As soon as he saw it, the young man was completely astonished. "So there really is something like that. Thanks." "Yes." After that, Byum-sang took steady steps forward. "Now I finally understand why he recommended the Sea King book to me. Before, I found it strange. Why would he suddenly recommend a manga series?" He remembered a development in that story. "We're about to collide. Turn the bow. Quickly. Turn the helm now. At this speed we can't stop. Unfurl the foresail and reverse course to block the path ahead." Ultimately, the essence of maritime law is the reality of what happens at sea. Why do ships, moving slowly across the ocean, still collide despite detecting each other 30 minutes in advance? Why do experienced captains still run into reefs, even while monitoring the most advanced radar? And why can a grain carrier still suddenly capsize? Some people carrying things cursed. Damn it, the lashings broke. The rice has all shifted to one side. Everyone hurry. Redistribute the load, quickly. Right. Only after reading the stories about the sea and ships that textbooks don't have, did I truly realize that a maritime lawyer must have a deep understanding of ships. He was still lost in thought, not noticing Attorney Yoon watching him intently. "I'm finally starting to get it." He looked at him and smiled faintly with satisfaction. Soon, night fell at the Gyeomgang Company. Attorney Yoon, in his room, stretched wearily. Finally done. He excitedly thought of a picture of himself climbing a mountain. Normally, with this much work, I'd definitely be stuck in the office all week. I can finally go hiking. Then, as he walked out, he saw someone waiting. "Attorney Yoon, are you getting off work now, attorney?" The moon was already high. Night had enveloped the place. At a restaurant, the sound of conversation rang out. Gwanghwamun has really changed a lot. The two were eating and drinking together. Young people frequent places like this a lot now. That's just how times are. Yoon looked at him and asked, "How's work?" He poured a drink and replied cheerfully, "Work? Same as always. But it's gotten a little better recently." Since Attorney Han started, Yoon sipped his beer and agreed. "Me too. I've already finished writing the complaint that's due on Monday." "You finished it already?" For someone who always waits until the last minute. "So? Attorney Han is doing a good job, right?" He seemed a little awkward at first, but now it seems he's gotten the hang of it. Attorney Song also thinks highly of him. Hearing that, Yoon was a little surprised. Really? Even that picky attorney praised him? She said his attitude of diligently researching cases, whether it's domestic or international law, is excellent. It's true that everyone has the same good eye for talent. Attorney Yoon drank his whole glass of beer. He slammed the mug down on the table. You know, a maritime lawyer. Then he put on a face like Conan solving a case. Has to have the intuition of a detective. Remembering an image from not long ago, Yoon recounted. But just as Attorney Song said, he has a very good attitude. You have nothing to apologize to us for. Even in the Hyun Jin shipping case, he even discovered the error in the captain's testimony right away. The young lawyer laughed heartily. You must have been very impressed. Suddenly, Attorney Yoon fell silent, as if in thought. He gripped the cold beer mug in his hand. And so, Yoon suggested, how about we try to bring him onto our team? As soon as he heard it, the young lawyer's eyes widened in surprise. It's been over 15 years since Attorney Beck actually liked someone. Even when we hired Attorney Lee Chun-hyun 5 years ago, I had to persuade him for a long time, that picky old man, and you made him like you in just 3 months? Thinking this, he was so happy he could cry. I fully support it. He felt like he had struck gold. Things will probably get a little less stressful now. But then another thought occurred to him. But shouldn't we ask Attorney Han's opinion first? Attorney Yoon gently picked up a soup bowl and replied, it's fine. I'm sure he's very interested in maritime law. Manager Kim said he checked out all the maritime law books to take home. What's more, he leisurely enjoyed his food. He's just like I was when I first started. As long as we offer, Attorney Han will definitely agree. This guy is already making plans, acting like it's a sure thing. Meanwhile, Byom Sang was in his mysterious space, and happily admiring the object in front of him. Finally, it's the refrigerator. His heart was blooming with joy. I finally bought you, my dear refrigerator. Byom Sang hugged it and kissed it affectionately. After joining the maritime law team, I truly understood the lesson. With the workload there, even the time to go out and buy food is precious.